And welcome back, everyone, to the Beer Battered Sports Podcast, the podcast created by sports fans for sports fans, because we believe we are the most qualified people to talk about our favorite teams. I'm your co host, Isaac,
And I'm 40.
and welcome to episode 112. Noma's not here with us today, but he should be back eventually. In the meantime, we got an exciting episode for you guys today. Plenty to talk about. The NBA and NHL playoffs have come down to their final fours for each, so we'll dive into that. We'll be talking about the WNBA and their start to the season and how the Indiana Fever and Caitlin Clark have been struggling a little bit. Well,
They
Fever
suck.
have. The Fever have. Clark's been fine. Clark's been fine. I have a rant about that. I'll get to.
She's been
Um, yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that. And also, before we do anything else, for those of you who celebrate, happy Motorsports Christmas Week. For anyone who doesn't know, on the Sunday of Memorial Day weekend every year, the three biggest motorsports in America, Formula One, IndyCar, and NASCAR, hold their three biggest races on the same day. It's the greatest thing ever. I love you too, person in the comments. I love you too. Let's go. For anyone who celebrates, it is if you're a bettor, it's probably one of the best days of betting you are ever going to get. If you're looking to place bets on the upcoming Indy 500, I'm just telling you now because 40, you're my betting guy. I'm telling you now. Any of the top three qualifiers for Team Penske, put your money on them. But be warned, they did get caught cheating in the season opening race down in Tampa. So
what race is this?
this is the Indy 500. This is the biggest motorsports event of the year, the biggest race of the year.
Hold on, I'm looking it up right now.
I'm just saying, if anyone out there is a betting guy, put your bets on this race. It's going to be a fun one.
All right. IndyCar Championship.
It's the Indy 500.
Who's one of the racers in this so I can see if I'm on the right thing here?
So we got guys like Joseph Newgarden, Scott McLaughlin, Will Power. That's his real name.
Yes, I'm on the right thing here. All right. Give me somebody. Just throw me a name you think could possibly win. Throw me two names you can think could possibly win the whole thing.
So for the Indy 500, Team Penske has been super fast, but they did get caught cheating at the season opening race at Tampa. That being said, I still think that putting money on them is good. And considering that he just broke the record for the fastest ever qualifying time, I would say put your money on Scott McLaughlin. Scott McLaughlin, number 3. He is looking like he might be the guy to beat.
Some great odds too. Some very great odds.
I'll give you 2 other names. I don't know if this guy's going to win, and there's a chance he might not even race because there is bad weather expected, and he's supposed to be racing in the NASCAR race down in Charlotte the same day. Kyle Larson, arguably one of the best race car drivers in the world right now, is pulling the double. He is running both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600 on the same day later in the evening. He is racing 1,100 miles of racing in one day. The double has been done before, but no one's ever won both races. But Larson qualified 5th. As long as the rain stays away, he might be a dark horse. So I'll give you that name. One other name I'll give you, and I'm only giving you this name because I don't like this guy. I do not like this guy at all. I think that this dude is an example of everything wrong with motorsports, and this dude has done some really shady stuff in the past that he has never addressed. But Santino Ferrucci has never finished outside of the top 10 at Indy. He is really good at this track, and he almost won this race last year. I really don't like this guy. Yeah, I really don't like this guy. I cannot stress how much I do not like this guy. This guy got kicked out of European racing because he said some really heinous things to his teammate who was from India. What are those odds at?
If you put $100 on him, that's $5,000 on the return.
Listen. He's not a very good person, but he's a really good race car driver. And it's like, I hate this dude. But he's always fast at Indy. So if you're going to put money on him, this goes against every fiber of my being. But the dude is insanely good at Indy. So those are my picks. If you're going to pick anyone for the Indy 500, those are the guys.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
All right.
Do a little bit more research on my own.
Oh, yeah. With that being said, let's get into our first segment. It's called What's on Your Mind. We got comment, Go Sports. Yes. Go sports. Woo. 40, we'll start with you. What's on your mind this week? A lot of stuff happened this past week in the world of sports. I'm curious what you think.
I told you, man. I told you. I knew it was the end of Denver.
Not
That's what's on my mind this week. What's on? No, but to be specific about what's on my mind in that there, Anthony Edwards, man. I think we have our face of the league when these older guys retire here. Jamal Murray came out in the first half and had 28 points. He finished the game, or 27 points. He finished the game with 35 points. During that run that they were down 15 at halftime, during that run where they came back, Jamal Murray did not score a single point. Jamal Murray had 27 points in the first half because Anthony Edwards was not guarding him. I say this because in the second half, Anthony Edwards was guarding him, and he finished the game with 35 points. You do the math there. Anthony Edwards shot 6 for 24 that game, and I don't think the stats tell enough of what that kid did. He shot 6 for 24 because the kid was being double and triple teamed. You can hear him in the mic'd up things telling Jamal Murray, bro, tell him stop double teaming me, bro. Like, play me one-on-one. Like, but, and then Jamal Murray's like, we got to, bro. We got to. So even the guys in the league know that this guy is a killer, and he changed the game in a different aspect in that game 7, even without his scoring. He came out and played tremendous defense in the second half on Jamal Murray that was going off in the first half and probably would have won that game for him had Anthony Edwards not made that switch on him in the second half. And his defense and his physicality, his tenacity won them that basketball game, as well as Karl-Anthony Towns. Shout out to Karl-Anthony Towns, man. 9 years in the league. He's finally into Western Conference Finals. I'm rooting for it. Right now I'm at a neutral because I love Kyrie. Kyrie's my guy. Yeah. But my young cat right now is Ant Edwards, and because that guy's a killer. And this series, Mavs and Timberwolves, is going to be a very great matchup.
Oh, I'm excited. I'm really excited for this series. First off, get a DNA test on Anthony Edwards right now. Like, we might not even need one. This man is 100% Michael Jordan's son, or the reincarnation of Michael Jordan. But I'll say this much. The Timberwolves, when it comes to history of the NBA, I got to go the sports history route. The Timberwolves, historically, they've kind of just been there. The one other time in their history that they got past the first round was back in 2004, where they had Kevin Garnett, his MVP season. They finished as the top seed in the West. They got all the way to the Western Conference Finals. Kobe and Shaq, and to a lesser extent, Karl Malone, were waiting for him. It did not go well. This is only the second time. This season is only the second time in this franchise's history that they have not only made the Western Conference Finals, but won a playoff series, and they've won 2. And they took down the defending champions to do so. There's something special about this team. There's something really special about Minnesota. I can't believe I'm saying this, but the Timberwolves have got my attention. I think that the Timberwolves might be, in a year full of surprises, they might be the biggest surprise. This whole season, by the way, has kind of felt like a changing of the guard for the NBA, in that a lot of the established powerhouse teams for the last decade or so have kind of been on the decline. LeBron and the Lakers are still doing good, but they just haven't been able to get over the hump. The Warriors are free falling. They're done. The Sixers, the process has failed. These are teams that we have seen in the playoffs consistently for years, and they're now starting to kind of fade away, and we're starting to see new teams like OKC, who put up a really good fight against Dallas. I'll give OKC all the credit. They put up an incredible fight, but Dallas had their number. Dallas has been a contender for a couple of years now, but they still feel relatively new because since the Dirk days, they really haven't been looked this good, and now they have a chance to go to the finals. Minnesota has emerged. Indiana has emerged. The one team that's still there kicking ass is Boston. Speaking of the East, Miami and Milwaukee have kind of faded a little bit. It really does feel. Go ahead.
I don't mean to cut you off. I'm sorry, but I will say, to speak on Boston, if Boston doesn't win it this year, they got to split them up. This is I think they've already been there 3 times, I believe.
This is going to be
go to the champion. If they go to the championship this year, this will be their 4th time in the championship. Wait, or would this be their 3rd time in the championship? They played
second time, because they went because they went in 2022, but they lost to the Warriors. Last year they lost to the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals.
Okay, so this
Yeah.
is their third Eastern Conference Finals in 5 years then, because they went in 2018.
It's their third straight Eastern Conference Final. Hold on.
Is it the third straight?
Let me take a look. Hang on. Let me fact check this. So this generation of the Celtics, yeah, this is going to be their fourth appearance in the last 5 years. They went in 2020.
So they went in 2020.
They were in 2020, 2022, 2023, and now 2024. This is their fourth appearance in the last 5 years for the Celtics in the Eastern Conference Finals. They only won one of those.
18 as well. Did they play Braun in 18?
They did. So it's their fifth appearance in the last 7 years.
Okay, so exactly 5 appearances in 7 years.
Whoa.
No championships.
No, it's their 6th appearance in the last 9 years.
6 in 9 years, no championships to account for that.
Yeah.
If they don't win it this year, then they need to split the team up. They had the easiest coast to the championship. They played a banged up Cavs team. They played a banged up who did they play in the first round? I don't even remember who they played in the first round.
They played the Heat. They played my Heat. They beat they whooped our butts.
They played a banged up Heat team. They played a banged up Cavs team, and now they're going to play an Indiana team that's very young. I mean, they do have championship experience on there, though. Pascal Siakam did win a championship with the Raptors.
Yeah,
I will give him that. But let's be honest, Pascal Siakam is no Paul George, no LeBron James, no Luka Doncic, no, you feel me? You're going to go out there and score you 40 points when you need it or 50 points when you need it. Like,
yeah.
So, they have the easiest road to the championship. The West, I believe, anybody like playing Minnesota, they're young. Even though they have Gobert and Cat that are 9 years in, Cat's still like 27 years old, bro. Like he came in the league when he was young as hell. So that's what I'm saying. If they don't win it this year, they need to split that team up.
Absolutely. I mean, this Boston team has been phenomenal all season, but they have to get it done. They have to. The Pacers are going to fight with a lot of fire, and I'm really excited to see the series. But at the end of the day, it's like Boston, you have no excuses if you don't pull this off. None at all. I'm just checking real quick to see. Oh, yeah, they do play tonight. Game 1 is tonight. All right, just had to check that. Yeah, no excuses if they don't pull this shit off. And I definitely think that I think they will. My pick is on them to win. But there's no excuse if they don't. And you're right. They definitely would need to reorganize that core, because you can't be this consistently good for this long and not get a championship. They have been one of the best teams in the East pretty much since 2015-ish, when we first started to see this current core kind of come together. They have been just dominant, and they just haven't been able to get anything done. It's unfortunate, but there's a lot they have to work on if they can't get this done. And I think there's a good chance that it's a make or break season for the Celtics. That's my take. It took a little while to get there, but that's my take when it comes to the Celtics. I will say this: I am more excited for these finals than I have been in the past, and I think that's because now that since my team is out of it and has been out of it, I'm kind of feeling this a little bit more. I'm usually the kind of guy who likes watching like established teams battle it out, but it's kind of fun seeing some of these newer teams, because everyone knows Boston has an insane history of being one of the NBA's blue bloods, being one of those teams that just is always up there. Dallas has had some great teams in the past. They have a championship, but they've kind of been a hit or miss team. But Minnesota and Indiana, non-existent. Indiana has one championship appearance, and they got swept by the Lakers. Indiana was known as choke artists for years. Minnesota has nothing. So there's a potential for us to get a really intriguing finals here. I actually go ahead. Calvin, what is your prediction? Who do you think the finals matchup is going to end up being out of our 4 final teams?
I like Minnesota and Boston, and I like Minnesota to win the whole thing.
All right. I I'm going to take I'm going to take Boston and Dallas. I think Dallas pulls it off in 7 in the Western Conference Finals, but I think that Boston wins the whole thing.
I just think Minnesota is too big for everybody. I saw a clip today of Daniel Gafford and all the Dallas bigs shooting 3-pointers at practice because they know they're going to have to be outside that paint so much. So if you have other teams bigs practicing 3-pointers, you know that you're very stocked inside.
Yeah. Before we talk a little bit more, I do want to say what's on my mind real quick, and I have something to say here. To the New York Yankees, who have recently been on a hot streak, have been one of the best teams in. Oh, I just got scolded. Have been one of the best teams in Major League Baseball over the last month. If you ever blow a lead like you did last night to the Mariners again, and lose after controlling the game all night long, if you ever do that again, let's just say I know where Yankee Stadium is. Okay. How could you? That was okay. So I had just finished up a 12-hour shift. I was feeling good because I had made a shit ton of cash. I was feeling good. Got into my car. I was watching the end of the Indiana Fever game, kind of losing my shit. I was like, "Oh my god, we almost had it! I almost had it!" And I had turned off the Yankees game because it was the closing minutes. It was 3-0. Stroman had pitched lights out all night. I thought, yeah, we got this. Okay, we got this. Never should have done that. Next time I look at my phone, Yankees blow a 4-1 lead, and all of a sudden the Mariners win it 5-4. I understand the Yankees have been really, really good last month, and like this is kind of just like a blip in the radar. But man, it was the 49th game of the season last year where Aaron Judge busted his toe and was out for the year and ruined our season. Last night was the 49th game of the year. If this collapse ruins our season, I know it's still early. We're not even 2 months into the season, but they got me stressing, Calvin. They got me really stressing. That's what's on my mind. With that being said, I did want to talk about this next because we already covered the NBA semifinals really quickly. Well, actually, not quick. We can make a big chunk out of the episode of this. The NFL schedule got released, and there are some fun matchups we got here. So I wanted to go over the NFL schedule. Let me see if I can share my screen here. By the way, I was in Kansas City for a wedding over the weekend. Their airport, oh boy. I know we're all sick and tired of Chiefs merch, but oh man, don't go into the Kansas City airport. Whatever you do not go into the Kansas City airport. It is not going to be pleasant for you. I sent that picture in our group chat of the Travis and Taylor love story shirt. I was like, man, Noam can't come to this airport. Noam might get arrested by TSA if he sees what's in this airport. It is just Chief stuff everywhere. They really like to point out, it's like, hey, look at us. We've won 3 of the last 5 Super Bowls. Are you guys annoyed yet? That's the whole Kansas City airport. It's just Chief stuff galore. But anyway, speaking of the NFL, here's the NFL schedule for 2024. We have our every week has been set up. And here's a look at what we got. So we start things off in week 1. Baltimore, Kansas City is opening up this season, and 40. This might be one of the. They know what they're doing with this. They know exactly what they're doing with this matchup. Yeah, that's gonna be it's gonna be a lot of bad blood in that matchup. I like it. I think it's great. Friday night, you've got Green Bay and Philadelphia in Sao Paulo, Brazil. That's gonna be interesting. Kind of an excuse to give them an extra show on Peacock, but it is what it is. We got the week 1 Sunday games, some interesting matchups here. We've got Washington and Tampa Bay down there. So 40, you know the deal for week 1. We know the deal. Both of our teams are playing each other. I don't think I know how I feel about this.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football, Rams at Detroit. Matthew Stafford's coming home again, and that's going to be a fun one. And then the opener for Monday Night Football, the New York Jets at San Francisco. I saw a quote somewhere one of the NFL insiders who said that while making the schedule, a lot of the TV executives said asked the NFL to put the Jets on their networks. Apparently, the general consensus was New York owes us. New York owes us for the shit they did pulled last year with Aaron Rodgers being out. And I agree. The Jets got so many primetime games last year and were so terrible. Yeah, they needed that. So that's week 1. Week 2, it's loading up. Week 2, we got Buffalo taking on Miami in the Thursday Night Football opener. It's good matchups on Sunday. Kansas City and Cincinnati is going to be a fun one, as always. You've got Chicago at Houston on Sunday Night Football. So a good showcase of Caleb Williams taking on C.J. Stroud and the always exciting Texans. And you got Battle of the Birds, Atlanta at Philadelphia. Kirk Cousins getting some Monday Night Football action against Philly. That should be a good game.
I think my boy Kirk's gonna prove a lot of people wrong this year, man.
I
I
hope
say
he
that
does.
every year.
You do say that every year, but last year he was trending in the right direction because
He
he was
was.
playing. Yeah,
He was playing great football until he got injured.
he was. They're going to have a lot of him. Don't worry. Week 3, you got the Patriots taking on the Jets on Thursday night. That's their first, matchup of Thursday Night Football. Sunday's matchup,
Yeah,
some good
Monday
ones.
night game. Oh my God, I didn't even know that. Oh my.
Yeah, Monday night, Washington's going to play Cincinnati. Jacksonville's at Buffalo in a doubleheader. Kansas City's at Atlanta for Sunday Night Football. So
Wait,
good
let me
match.
tell you. Week 1, the Arizona Cardinals are going to do the funniest thing, and they're going to upset the Bills.
Let me see. Kyler's coming back in full health, right?
Yes,
I could see that happening. Is that we're already getting wacky predictions? All right.
they are going to do the funniest thing and upset the Bills.
Here's week 4. We got the Giants Cowboys rivalry on Thursday Night Football. Sunday we got Buffalo and Baltimore on Sunday night. That's a fun one. That's the first time I'm looking at the schedule, by the way. So, and then another doubleheader on Monday night: Tennessee at Miami. Good battle between two young teams, and it's Seattle at Detroit. That could be that could be an okay one. Also, for all,
I actually think Detroit's going to have a down year this year.
ooh, I could see it.
8-9 type of year.
Huh. Interesting. By the way, Carolina's game against Cincinnati this week. Tickets are as low as $42. So that shows you the state that the Panthers are in.
So they had this graphic today, and it said the season you can buy a whole worth of season tickets for the Panthers game, and it's the same price as one ticket for the Ravens Chiefs home opener.
Jeez. That's.
So would you rather go to 8 games or 1 game?
I'd rather go to 8 games, even if they're terrible. Like you could
Yeah.
get drunk at those games; it'll be fine. So that. Here we got week 5. We got Tampa and Atlanta on Thursday night. Seeing a lot of Atlanta on primetime. I think the Kirk Cousins trade and all the excitement about the Falcons is really and the controversy about the Falcons is really pumping them up. First London game, New York Jets taking on the Vikings. Hopefully Aaron Rodgers' Achilles doesn't do the funniest thing ever in week 1. Although I don't want to wish ill will, but it would be really funny if what happens. Dallas and Pittsburgh, good old-fashioned rivalry on Sunday Night Football. Monday night, Saints taking on the Chiefs that week. Chiefs getting another primetime game. Week 6, we got San Francisco, Seattle on Thursday night. That's always a great rivalry matchup. We got another London game as Jacksonville takes on the Bears. We got Cincinnati at New York on Sunday night, and then Buffalo and the Jets on Monday Night Football. And I'm just saying, last time Buffalo played in New York, Aaron Rodgers' other Achilles has the chance to do the funniest thing ever. Next up, we've got, excuse me, in week 7, Denver and New Orleans on. Oh God, who put that on Thursday Night Football? What? There's our really dumb game of the year, guys. What the hell is this?
Denver and New Orleans.
That is gross.
Yeah.
New England and Jacksonville in London. There's Jacksonville's annual home game. Sunday Night Football this week is going to be the Jets at the Steelers. That could be a fun one. And then on Monday night, we got a doubleheader. Baltimore taking on Tampa Bay. Oh, God. And the Chargers taking on the Cardinals. Week 8. Go ahead.
Baltimore might put 50 on y'all that night.
Okay. All right. Calm down. Uh, Week 8, we got Minnesota taking on the Rams on Thursday Night Football. Those two randomly always play really good games against each other. I
That
never noticed that until I was looking back. It's like they play really well against each other.
that number 1 versus number 2 draft pick is going to be a great game right there too at 1 p.m. Chicago and Washington.
There it is. Yeah, that's gonna be. That one might get flexed if these two teams end up playing well. That one might get flexed because the late games. I mean, Philly and Cincinnati. Maybe not. Philly and Cincinnati is that week. That's a fun one. Dallas and San Francisco. Obviously, you have to get that matchup on prime time. That's
I
always a
mean, they
fun
could
one.
flex that Monday night game though. I'm gonna be honest.
Oh yeah, please. Ew. What the hell is that Monday night game?
Like they can, if by week what week is that? Week 8?
That's week 8.
Okay, so if by week 6 both teams are like 4-2, they need to flex that.
Yeah, they do. This is week 9. Houston, the Jets on Thursday. That's going to be a really interesting game. Aaron Rodgers taking on CJ Stroud. That's going to be really interesting. Sunday's matchups, we got some good ones here. Detroit, Green Bay, late game. That's going to be America's game of the week. I know that for a fact.
I like Green Bay to win that division this year, man. I think I don't know, man. Something about Green Bay.
They're definitely going to be I don't know if they have a chance to beat them, but they'll definitely be up there. And then you got Jacksonville and Philly on Sunday night. And oh god, why Monday night? My two favorite teams play each other. Why? I guess I'm not watching. I guess I'm just not watching. I don't want to do that. Week 10, Cincinnati and Baltimore on Thursday Night Football. Last time they played on Thursday night, bad things happened to Joe Burrow. So there we go. It feels like a lot of the schedule is just kind of being like, hey, sorry about last year with all the injuries. Let's just redo it. We got our Germany game, which, I'm so sorry, Munich. Oh my God. What is this?
The Giants and the Panthers. Wow.
Oh. Listen, I know the NFL really wants to have more international games. I know they really want more international games. But good God, guys, what the hell is this?
They need to put us out there in the international game.
Yeah, Washington this week's playing Pittsburgh. That could be a fun one. Houston, Detroit, Sunday Night Football. That might be the game of the year right there. Those two teams. And then Miami and Los Angeles on Monday night. That should be a fun one too.
Suck this year, bro.
Who's gonna suck? Detroit?
I just got a feeling, bro.
You gotta have faith, man. You gotta have faith. Here's week 11. We've got Washington and Philly on Thursday Night
We're
Football.
gonna beat their ass.
It's already starting. Sunday's big games. Looks like the big game on Sunday. We've got Green Bay and Chicago. That's going to be a fun one.
Kansas City, Buffalo. Ooh.
There it is. I was waiting for that game. One day the Chiefs. Will this be the year the Chiefs finally beat the Bills in the regular season? Please. Colts, Jets on Sunday Night Football, and then on Monday night it's Houston and Dallas in a battle.
That's going to be a ball game. Oh my God, Trey Diggs versus Steph Diggs.
Oh yeah. Week 12, Pittsburgh at Cleveland on Thursday night. That's going to be a ugly good game of football. Big game says San Francisco, Green Bay on Sunday. That's a rematch of the divisional round playoff. That's going to be fun. Philly and Los Angeles on Sunday Night Football. Baltimore going to play the Chargers. The Harbowl. Monday
Dallas
night.
and Washington, man.
Yeah, Dallas and Washington too. I'm looking at the Harbowl, man. The Harbowl. 12 years after their Super Bowl matchup. Harbaugh versus Harbaugh.
That's going to be a good one.
Week 13, our Thanksgiving games. We got Chicago at Detroit. All right. Giants at Dallas. Why? And in Miami at Green Bay. Okay. All right. Yeah, I fuck with it. I fuck with Miami and Green Bay. That could be a fun one. I have faith in Jordan Love to put on a good show. Our Black Friday game is going to be the Raiders of the Chiefs. So, I can't wait for my Chiefs fans family to text me and be like, "How do you get Prime Video?" Sunday, we got some good ones here on Sunday. Looks like we've got Pittsburgh, Cincinnati playing Sunday. Baltimore and Philadelphia. Ooh, I'm going to be interested to see how Noah and Kylie act around each other on that day. Holy shit, $22 tickets to see the Bucks play in Carolina. I might go.
Hey, that's just a little drive, man. That's all.
I might. San Francisco at Buffalo also playing on Sunday Night Football. Ooh, that's sexy. And in Cleveland at Denver on Monday night. Okay, so they have to torture us with one bad primetime game. Here's
That's
the
a
NFL
ball game right there, Thursday night.
Week 16, Thursday night, Green Bay at Detroit. Oh yeah, baby. Sunday's games, we've gotten the Jets taking on the Dolphins, Philly and Carolina, which actually is probably the most expensive game of the season for the Panthers. San Francisco, Chicago is going to be a fun one. Rams, Bills. This is just a fun week. Chiefs, Chargers on Sunday night, and then Dallas, Cincinnati on Monday night. Last time those two teams played each other, it was a really, really fun game. So looking forward to that. Week 15, we got the Battle of California on Thursday night. Sunday, looking through our matchups here, we've got the most expensive ticket of the year, actually, for Carolina home fans. It's going to be $134 to see them play Dallas. Battle of Pennsylvania with Pittsburgh and Philly. We got a doubleheader on Monday night. Chicago taking on Minnesota and the Falcons taking on the Raiders. Week 16. We're starting to see our first kind of special games. So we've got Thursday night, Cleveland at Cincinnati. On Saturday, we got a couple of Saturday special games. Houston taking on Kansas City and Pittsburgh taking on Baltimore. Ooh, they're spoiling us with those games. They are spoiling us with those games. Sunday night, Tampa Bay at Dallas. And New Orleans at Green Bay is on Monday. Week 17, Christmas Day games, Kansas City versus Pittsburgh, Baltimore at Houston on Netflix, exclusively on Netflix. I don't really like it. I don't really like it. I'm curious what your thoughts are on this 40 on Netflix getting a couple of games.
I think it's stupid.
I think that's the best thing we can say
It's
about
just making us pay, people that don't have Netflix, that's all they're doing is making people who don't have Netflix get Netflix.
Well, it's a good thing I'm going into town. I'll just on Christmas because I'll just mooch off of my parents' Netflix account to get that. You got Seattle and Chicago on Thursday Night Football. Sunday's games looking good. Cleveland and Miami on Sunday night, and then Monday night's going to be Detroit and San Francisco NFC Championship rematch. That's the ultimate week of the season. Week 18, final week of the season. There's your slate of divisional rivalry games. Oh yeah, it's gonna be I think gonna be a very fun year. A lot of fun games scheduled. I'm looking forward to it. There's a lot to look forward to.
For sure.
Oh yeah. With that being said, let's talk about something a little interesting. So the WNBA season started, and it has been interesting. Sorry, I'm just trying to pull up the Yankees game right now. Let me just pull this up real quick. There we go. I swear to the baseball gods, if we lose this one, I'm going to have issues. Okay. So WNBA season got off to a pretty fun start so far, 2024. Pull it up. The first month of the season has been pretty exciting so far. Oh, first week of the season, I should say. First week of the season has been pretty fun so far with some great performances. We've seen a couple of 30-plus point games. But there has been one thing that everybody seems to be talking about. One thing that everyone just wants to talk about nonstop with the WNBA. That is Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever are bad. They are really, really bad. They are currently 0-4, dead last in the league. They are not looking good at all. They currently hold on 1 second. Let me get this up. They currently they have lost their first 4 games.
They suck
by an average of 25 to 30 points. Last night against Connecticut, they came really, really close to getting that first win. They lost by 4. That's the closest it's been all season. The low light of the year by far was a 102-66 loss to the New York Liberty on the second game of the season. It's been bad. It's been really bad. Caitlin Clark so far has looked. It's hard. Okay, it's hard to say. This is where I want to get into this because it's hard to say because Clark has been doing what she can. It is very clear that this team is not very well coached and is not very well organized.
Definitely not well coached. They suck.
Yeah.
Like, I was watching them play the other day, and like you said, it's very unorganized. Like, play calling and people are running into each other and stuff like that. Like, no, it's just terrible.
It's rough. It's really rough, and I feel for these ladies because so many eyes are being turned onto the WNBA now because of Caitlin Clark, and a lot of people are seeing this and are probably thinking like, "Oh my God, this league is trash." A couple of points I want to make. The first point is this: WNBA. Everyone kind of expected that Caitlin Clark was going to come in and immediately start kicking ass at this league. I think we kind of forgot that the WNBA has some really talented players who have been showcasing what they could do. Yeah. Like, people forget the reason why Caitlin Clark at Iowa made it so good, it looked so good in college is one, they had a great coach in Lisa Bluter, who is now being considered potentially to take over as the Fever's next head coach, from what I've heard. Secondly, that team was actually really good. That team had a lot of good depth. People forgot. There's a reason that Kate Martin got drafted and made the Las Vegas Aces roster and has been balling out in her first couple of starts. Like, she's low-key a really good role player. On top of that, the women's game doesn't have the depth of talent that the WNBA has. So while a lot of people really, really love women's college basketball, you got to remember, outside of the big name stars, it's kind of it's a lot easier because you're playing a lot of teams that aren't really that good. And this goes for college sports in general. There's a massive jump in talent, and I think we've seen that with how Clark and the Fever have performed this season so far. The biggest thing that I've noticed is this. You could follow up with me if you think I'm right. The biggest issue I've noticed is that Caitlin Clark seems to be so much faster than not just the opposing team, but her own teammates. She is making passes that are going for nothing but turnovers or going out of bounds. I don't think it's because they're bad passes. I think it's because her teammates just aren't used to somebody playing that fast. And don't get me wrong, Clark has struggled a little bit, but she's still been able to have multiple 20-point games and has been one of the few pieces for the Fever that's actually been playing pretty good. The issue is that the Fever, their players just aren't used to somebody this fast coming into the league. They're just not used to somebody like with this level of skill. People forget the Fever were the worst team in the league last year for a reason. And the unfortunate thing is they seem to have gotten even worse. The turnovers definitely are a big problem. I mean, Clark had 10 in her first game. I think a lot of that was because we all assumed, she was just going to come in and dominate. Forgot the WNBA is actually, they're really talented players. And also, like, her team isn't that good, Even Aaliyah Boston, who was the number 1 overall pick last year and, was the one good piece that the Fever had, she struggled a lot this year. She has not looked good through the first 4 games. My concern is obviously that the wave of hype surrounding Clark is going to die off eventually, and people are going to be like, "Oh, we're not going to watch." When the league is actually pretty stacked with some really good players and teams that are going to be a lot of fun to watch. There's some really fun storylines developing this year, especially surrounding some of the other rookies. Cameron Brink has been awesome for the Sparks. The Sky have looked really solid so far. Kate Martin obviously has been the big surprise of this draft class, going out there and balling out for the Aces. But the Fever have just not been there. So this point, I wanted to bring up this point of U40. What has to change in Indiana in order for this team to get back on track and for Caitlin Clark and the Fever to start winning some games?
They got to spread the ball out a lot more. They got to, I think as they get more chemistry together, they'll be a lot better and stuff like that. Because like you said, there's a lot of passes, that are going for turnovers and stuff like that. And I agree with you. I think it's because they're not used to someone that's playing that fast. She does have a very high motor. It doesn't matter if it's the first quarter or the fourth quarter. And don't get me wrong, she hasn't come in and just been, oh my God, electrifying. There's been games where she shot 4 for 17 and stuff like that. So, there's things that she has to change as well. But I think the biggest thing is coaching. I think their coaching needs to change drastically because those plays that are being called are horrendous.
I've noticed that like they get into situations where they fall behind and they just aren't making any adjustments. Like they keep trying to have Clark the first 3 games of the season. This is the big difference. The first 3 games of the season, what I saw from the Fever was that they basically told Caitlin Clark, "You're point guard. That's all you got to do." That's not really. They kind of put her into a role and said, "Play it." Problem is, Caitlin Clark isn't a role player. She is the focal point of the offense. That's why Iowa worked so well. The reason why she was able to take Iowa to back-to-back national championship appearances is because Lisa Bluter and Iowa staff recognized Caitlin Clark is a generational talent, one of the best players in the history of the game. So we're just going to let her do her own thing, and everyone else fits into their role. All right. If Clark's covered and they can't get an open shot, find Kate Martin. She's got it. If you need somebody to draw a foul or get tough in the middle, you got their center, whose name I'm forgetting. I apologize. With the Fever, Clark hasn't been allowed to be Caitlin Clark. And I think being forced into that role for those first 3 games contributed to all the turnovers, the bad passes, the frustration. Last night against the Sun, they basically took the training wheels off and said, "Okay, just do what you did back in Iowa, and everyone else will kind of just adapt to it." That's at least what I think they did because they played so much better last night. Like Connecticut is a damn good team, and Indiana had him on the ropes for a while there. It did come down to the end ultimately, and I think Clark's technical foul late to the Sun getting back into it and pulling off the win. But Indiana looked like they could contend with some of the best last night. And I feel like if they just do that, if they're just like, all right, they're just going to let Caitlin be Caitlin and everyone else will fill their roles, it's going to work. They also need a center because Aaliyah Boston isn't cutting it. Like she's a great player, but she's not a center. She is too small to be a center, and them trying to have her be their under the rim person isn't working. It is not working. They are getting killed on rebounds, and it shows because Boston is just not able to outmuscle some of that series against New York, that 2-game series against New York. She was getting bullied by Jonquel Jones the whole time, and I'm watching this thinking like, why do they not have a big man? Why do they not have a big center? Why are they trying to put an undersized? Why are they trying to put like one of their forwards a forward in as an undersized center? It's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So. With that being said, though, shout out to Angel Reese and the Chicago Sky, who are looking really good. And let me just check, make sure. Hold on 1 second. There we are. Yeah, the Sky so far have been very, very interesting. They've looked really good, and I think it's starting to show that they're. I am a little disappointed that Camila Cardozo hasn't been playing much. She's been on the bench, but Angel Reese has looked really good. So I'm happy about that.
Cardozo had an injury. She's coming back June 1st. That's when she
Gotcha. I did not know that. Okay, good. I was a little concerned, but yeah, I am very pleased with the rookies in this class. I think is the best thing to say, and the Indiana Fever need to make some adjustments. With that being said, I think that's a good stopping point for today's episode. Somebody's getting pulled over outside. Oh boy. With that being said, real quick, who's taking game 1 of the Celtics Fever series tonight, Calvin?
Celtics Fever.
Did I say Fever? Celtics Pacers. Sorry. Indiana. They're both Indiana. Same thing.
I mean, Boston should win.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know, man. For some reason, I got Indiana stealing game 1.
I can see it.
Like,
I can definitely see it.
They're very hot right now. And, Halliburton's playing like he was at the beginning of the season. So they have a great chance to steal game one.
I like that pick. I think I'll go with the same. With that being said, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Beer Battered Sports. Remember, as always, we're a proud affiliate of the Fired Up Sports Network. Go check out all of their other podcasts, including our friends over at Bell Smashers Pod. Shout out Kylie and the gang. You can follow us on all of our socials at @BBSports_pod and check out our Twitter bio for merch. I know it's officially now called X. They changed everything now. Now making it so that when you type in twitter.com, it immediately forwards back to x.com. It's still Twitter. Let's be honest. Before we go though, do we have any update on the on our little surprise?
I promise next. My mom's just been very busy because she got a new job recently.
Oh, congrats to her.
Yeah, thank you. But yes, next episode, I promise you people, you're gonna see something that's gonna be very liked.
Oh yeah. We've been hyping it up for a couple of episodes. We promise it is coming. Don't worry.
Yeah, she's been. Oh, my sister's about to have a kid as well, so she's been dealing with setting up my sister's baby shower. So,
congratulations to your sister.
Thank you.
All right.
Very much.
Yeah, family always comes first before we get into the business side of things. But don't worry, we got something special coming. We've been hyping it up. It will be here eventually. We will get it. With that being said, we're going to see you guys next week. Hopefully, Noam will be able to get on the show. I know he's been really busy with work, but he's been a trooper, and there are changes. He's working through some changes to the schedule, so he should be able to get back on the show eventually. But for all of us here, Beer Battered Sports, we're going to sign off, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. We will see you next week. Peace.